Myself in a sec. Let's see, am I live? Hello, everyone. So again, today I am going to try to do Facebook Live and Instagram Live. So hello, Instagram. As always, if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat or the comments, and I will always circle back around to answer any questions people may have. Cool. Let's see. All right. Hopefully this works. Today we're going to be talking about insulin resistance again, and we are going to be talking about the steps to lower insulin in your body. So once you eat, what things you should be doing to help to lower that insulin so that we can get this metabolism going, right? That's what we want. So guys, the ultimate goal is blood sugar. The ultimate goal is to have our blood sugar nice and steady. Once our blood sugar spikes and that insulin kicks in high gear, that's when the trouble happens. So we want to avoid that. And I'm just going to make sure that I am live here. Just give me one sec. Yes, awesome. Okay, so last time we talked about insulin resistance and how it works. If you guys remember, we talked about insulin being a key that opens the door to our cells. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about solutions. We went over some of them briefly last week, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper this week. And so if you're ready to take back control of your metabolism and you want to start seeing results, stick with me. I've got some simple, actionable steps for you. So I have a question. Who caught last week's live when we talked about insulin resistance? Put an emoji if you saw the live from last week. If you did not, type in recap so that I can tag you in that video and you can go back and watch that video also, because that was also informative. So if you missed last week's live, type recap in the chat or in the comments. If you saw it, give me an emoji because I want to see how many people saw it. That's always fun, right? But if you missed it, type recap because I do want to tag you in that video so that you can go back and watch it. And so we're just going to briefly go over what causes high insulin because it's so important to know this. As I said, the name of the game is to have a nice steady blood sugar level, and we don't want to have those sugar spikes and that insulin rushing out trying to control that. Remember, insulin is a fat storing hormone, so we don't want that. All right, we want our body to just produce just enough to get the glucose into our cells. We don't want to be insulin resistant where our cells have locked the doors and they're not letting that insulin in anymore. That's what we don't want. All right. So what causes high insulin? Well, the first thing is eating too many processed carbs and sugar. We want to minimize that. So you want, well, let me just tell you the three things first. I'm going to tell you the three things that cause it, and then we'll go into what to do to combat that. So number one is eating too many processed carbs and sugar. Number two is not eating enough after meals. So if you're the type that you have your lunch, dinner, whatever it is, and then you go sit on the couch, that is bad. You don't want that. You don't want to do that. After you eat, you want to move your body. And I mentioned last week, even if you're sitting, let's say you're at lunch and you can't leave your office, just do some calf raises. And that's going to help soak up that glucose and you won't get that rush of insulin. Okay, so number one, eating too many processed carbs and sugar. Number two, not moving enough after meals. And then number three is high stress and poor sleep, and we're going to lump those together. So write these down. These are the three main things that cause high insulin levels: eating too many processed sugars and food, not moving enough after meals, and high stress and poor sleep. So be honest. Tell me, which one is your biggest struggle? Is it food? Is it movement? Is it stress and sleep? Put it in the chat or comments. Is your biggest problem food, movement, or stress and sleep? I'm going to check here. Let's see. Put that in the comments. I really want to know what everyone is struggling with the most, because this helps me to figure out future videos. I want to be informative. I want to help people. So put that in the chat. All right. So at least saying stress and sleep. Okay. That's really good to know. Okay. So let's talk about steps to lower your insulin and get that metabolism moving. All of the above. On Instagram, hey. On Instagram, they're saying all of the above. That was me at a time also, so I get that. I get that 100%. But now let's talk about how can we start to lower that. What are the steps that we can do that we can lower the insulin and we can get our metabolism going? That's what we want, right? So number one, I alluded to it before, is to eat a balanced blood sugar meal. You want to keep your blood sugar nice and steady throughout the day as much as possible. Every time we eat, we are going to have a bit of a glucose spike, but it should be like, if you're looking at it on a chart, it should be just like a little hill. It shouldn't be a big spike, right? It should just go up nicely, come back down. That's what you want. You don't want these spikes that are just going up and down, up and down. You don't want that. When that down happens, that's when you crash. That's when you feel tired. That's when you build up that inflammation. So you want to avoid those huge spikes. You want to have just a nice little hill when you're eating. So how do we do that? We're going to prioritize fiber, protein, and healthy fats with every meal. You want to swap out the refined sugar, refined carbs, and you want to switch that to fiber-rich foods. So reduce the sugar, reduce the processed foods, and you want to start small. So we're going to talk about a few different things today. I don't want you guys to try to do all of it tomorrow. Okay, we got to start small because we want to make this sustainable. So you pick something, pick one of the things that we talk about, and that's what you're going to start with tomorrow. But when it comes to food, you want to remember, for every meal, fat, fiber, protein. Every single meal, fat, fiber, protein. Now, for us women, if we are still on a cycle, the week before we get our period is when you want to add in those healthy carbs. I'm not saying to have a no carb diet. I'm 100% not saying that. But if you are trying to get your insulin in check and lose some weight, you want to be on a low carb diet. However, if you still get your period the week before your period, that's when you want to lean into the nature's carbs. So like the sweet potatoes, things like that. Okay, so fat, fiber, protein for every meal. Reduce that sugar intake, especially those refined sugars, and processed food. Processed food is like the number one culprit. For me, it was. Once I gave that up and I started reading my labels and I started removing the seed oils and the refined sugar, the weight started melting off because my body was healing from the inside out. And once my body started to heal, the weight just like melted off. I did not try. I promise you. I was not trying to lose weight at that time. I was trying to heal my body. And once my body did start to heal, the weight just started coming off. Okay, number two, you want to move your body. Okay, we talked about that. So you want to do a 10-minute walk after meals. Again, you can do the calf raises. But listen to this. A 10-minute walk after meals can lower your insulin by 30%. 30%. I feel like that's a big number. Now remember, insulin is a fat storing hormone. So 30%, if you go for a 10-minute walk, that's huge. Okay, so try to go for a walk. You take your lunch break. That is a form of self-care. Take your lunch break, have your meal, go outside, take a 10 to 15-minute walk. Prioritize yourself. The work's going to be there when you get back. Nobody's going to take it away, I promise. Strength training is another thing. Now, years ago, it was all about the cardio, but studies show that strength training is where it's at. We need to build our muscle. Okay, we need to build muscle, especially as we age. We want to be building our muscle. So strength training 2 to 3 times a week is going to improve your insulin sensitivity. So it's going to help your body be able to manage the glucose when you're eating. So you want to work out 2 to 3 times per week. And if you're just starting out, use your own body weight. You don't have to lift heavy weights. Use your own body weights. I remember when I started, I could barely do a squat. It was terrible. But that's just where I was at. And a lot of people start like that. And start where you're at. Start where you're at, and little by little, you can start adding on to that. But 2 to 3 times a week, do some kind of strength training. Simple movement matters, okay? You don't want to go hardcore if you're just starting out. Don't go crazy in the gym for an hour. You don't need to do that. You can actually be hurting yourself when you do that because your body is, it's just not prepared for that. Especially if you're trying to heal your body. You don't like, I did this once or twice in the very, very beginning. I would try to do these long, strenuous exercises. And afterwards, I would be like so done. Like I couldn't do anything else. That was it for the day. And then the next day, like I would be so tired. Like it wasn't just like, you know, the achiness that you feel when you work out for the first time. It was, my body was shot. I could barely get out of the bed. So you don't want to push yourself to that point. Start small, and you want to do, you know, just use your own body weight in the beginning and move on. Okay, it's so cold over here to go walking. I know it is cold, but you can just walk around your house. I do that, especially if I'm on the phone. If I'm on the phone, I'm walking around in a circle. So walk around your house. That's fine. You can do that. It's same thing. It's just, you know, it's a little bit not as adventurous, but you can walk around your house for now in the winter. Also, one of the things I love is I have a mini trampoline or a rebounder. I love that thing. I will just, every time I pass by it, I'll just go hop on, do 5 minutes, get off. But it's great for after I eat, especially now in the winter. I'll hop on for a couple of minutes. And you don't have to do it as long as if you're walking. So you're cutting the time in half. So if you need a 10-minute walk, you just have to do that for 5 minutes, and it's the equivalent. So I love a rebounder. If you don't have one, look into it. So much fun. So simple movement, okay? Keep that in mind, simple movements. So put in the chat all the comments if you are willing to try a 10-minute walk after your next meal. So tomorrow, let me know if you're willing to do a 10-minute walk. Are you willing to really take your lunch time and have your meal, relax, have your meal, and then go for a walk? Let me know in the comments if you're going to do that tomorrow. All right, next thing is prioritize sleep and manage stress. This is a big one because a lot of times we don't even realize that we're lacking in this area. So we need to really think about it. Okay, somebody's saying me over there on Instagram, ready for a walk tomorrow. I'm going to follow up with you, so you need to do it. So poor sleep and stress raises your cortisol levels. And we talked about this a little bit last week. When our cortisol levels rise, then our insulin rises it's like a loop. So once the cortisol level rises, the insulin's going to rise. Okay, so you want to aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep so that your cortisol level stays at bay. And there's a lot of other things that go into it. but that's one of the ways. Okay, so aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Ellie said she's going to walk around her living room. That's great. That's good. You should do that. Um, Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And we talked a little bit about this last week. Just, resetting your circadian rhythm. Get outside the first 30 minutes. Hi, greetings from Mexico. Hi. Get outside the first 30 minutes of when you wake up. Get some sunlight. And then try to be outside during the sunset. That's going to help your body reset and be able to go to sleep at a decent time. Because sometimes we want to go to sleep, but we're just there in the bed tossing and turning. Don't have your devices on and turn them off an hour before you're going to sleep, minimum, an hour before you're going to sleep. And don't eat 3 hours before bed. Okay? So really, really do that. The eating thing, I've tested it. And if I eat, let's say I eat a really late dinner and then I go and lay down, I'm not going to sleep. I could be so tired and it just does not happen. So 3 hours before bed, have your last meal or snack. And then do some deep breathing. We talked about that also a few weeks ago. Deep breathing is so helpful. Maybe you want to do some journaling. Journaling always just like clears your mind and makes you relax. Prayer is helpful, or meditation if that's your thing. That helps to lower stress. So incorporate some of these things into your nighttime routine, and it's going to help you a lot with being able to rest and get to sleep at the same time every day. That's the other thing. You want to try to go to sleep at the same time every day and wake up at the same time every day. That also helps to reset your circadian rhythm so that you're in sync and you're doing the same thing every day. Magnesium and herbal teas. So having a tea, there's so many different teas that will support relaxation and help you. They have that, what's it called? Can't remember the name of it now. It's like a nighttime tea, like sleepy tea, the sleepy tea. But if you're fasting, you can have the tea, but you cannot put anything in it. I mean, you shouldn't put anything in it regardless because you're trying to go to sleep, so you don't want any milk or sugar. But if you're fasting, you can drink the tea. It will not break your fast. So I just wanted to mention that. All right. So if you guys are fasting and your last meal is at whatever, 6 or 7 o'clock, and you feel like you can't have a cup of tea, you can. You can have the tea. You can't have anything in the tea except the tea. All right. So that you will not be breaking your fast. Let me know, how many of you get at least 7 hours or more of sleep every night? Type in yes or no. Type in yes, you get at least 7 hours, or no, you can never get up to 7 hours of sleep. You always do less than 7 hours. Put it in the chat. Let me know if you get 7 hours or more. Who's getting more than 7 hours of sleep here? Sometimes. Okay. I luckily, for the most part, I'm getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep now, which I absolutely love. Occasionally, I can't sleep. Something if I eat too late, I'm definitely not sleeping. So you got to know your own body and what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And that happens with trial and error. It's really good to keep a journal of what you're eating, how much you're sleeping, what times you're eating, so that you know what is your body reacting to. All right. So try to do that. So which tip are you going to start with? So I mentioned a few things here. So let's see. We talked about prioritizing sleep. We talked about moving your body, and we talked about eating. So is it going to be food? Is it going to be movement? Or is it going to be sleep and stress? Which one are you going to tackle first? Put it in the chat. Food, movement, or sleep and stress? Which one do you want to work on first? Because remember, baby steps. You don't want to do everything all at once. Baby steps. So I want you to take one action that we talked about today and start it tomorrow. Just one. So either food, movement, or sleep and stress. So it can be adding protein to your meals or taking a short walk, getting a better night's sleep. How are you going to get a better night's sleep? You're going to prepare for bed earlier. You're going to take a nice Epsom salt bath, or you're going to journal or meditate, pray. Try something so that you can get a better night's sleep. And then all these small changes, they are going to add up. You're going to do one thing, just keep doing that every night. And then next week, you can add in something else. And that is, that's the trick to this. It's just adding little things one at a time. Before you know it, your whole routine has changed. You're eating better, you're sleeping better, you're moving better, and your body is healing from the inside out, and it's going to show because you are going to start to lose that excess weight. Keep in mind that when we hold on to weight, it's because there's something I hate to say the word wrong, but something is not right inside of our body. And that's why our body is holding on to the weight. So we need to heal from the inside out. All right. So I gave you 3 tips to start with. Let me know in the comments or the chat, which one are you going to start with tomorrow? Tomorrow. You're starting this tomorrow. Not on Monday. We don't do Mondays here. Tomorrow. So if you guys want more guidance on this, just type in the chat guide. I actually created a resource. It's on balancing your blood sugar. And I think that's the title of it, balancing your blood sugar. But if you want it, just type in guide in the chat or the comments and I'll send it over to you. I'll send you the link for it. If you found this helpful, please tag a friend. Tell them to join. I'll be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m. I do this every single Tuesday at 7. I used to only do it on Facebook. Hey, Facebook. But now I'm doing it on Instagram too. So hello, Instagram people. So if you know someone that you feel needs to hear some of this stuff, please invite them next week. All right? Because I really want to help everyone. We can take control of our own health, right? Our metabolism is in our control, and I want to help you get through what you need to get through. So the other thing is, if there is a specific topic that you want me to talk about, put it in the chat or the comments, and I'll set that up. So maybe next Tuesday or the Tuesday after that, I'll talk about that topic because I really want to help you guys. So if there's a specific topic, please put it in the chat or the comments. And as always, if you guys are watching the replay, put your questions in, and I will always circle back around and answer your questions. Before we head out, if anyone has, hey Nita, if anyone has any questions, put them in the chat right now so I can answer them before we leave. Because that's what I love to do. So I'm going to give you guys a minute. If you guys have a question, just type it in. If you want that resource that I created that's balancing, it's all about balancing blood sugar, type in guide so I can send that over to you. Okay, so type in guide. All right, let's see. Let's see. Okay, no questions. Okay, cool. All right, so I am going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for joining you guys over on Instagram, and thank you guys over in Facebook world. You know, I've been in Facebook for a while now doing this, and I appreciate you guys so much. So again, invite your friends for next week. If you have any questions or any topics that you would like me to discuss, just put it, even if you want to come back later and put it in the comments, and I will see it, and I will start working on that for you. Have a great week, guys, and I will see you soon. All right, how do I stop this now? That's always the trick. All right, let's do this one. Facebook. All right. Goodbye, guys.